This is Ernest Hemingway. It's been like several years since I made the Hemingway video. As a result, I probably needed to update the information on it a little bit. I created a new version of this Hemingway video right now. So let's get this started with. Let's start off with this. This guy is called Ernest Miller Hemingway. Higher quality videos means higher effort. And Ernest Miller Hemingway went ahead, and he was one of the most influential writers in the world. In fact, he created pretty big sentences. He didn't really care about long and wordy sentences. In fact, maybe he didn't even care about adjectives or even just actions. It was always just brief and precise. Obviously, you're gonna need some adjectives, but he didn't use those long, eloquent words, mainly because people went ahead and used these words so often that you go ahead and realize that you're just taking up page space instead of like just showing off something as short as you can. It was brief, it was quite concise, and it was up to the point. He was born on July 21st of 1899, and this is him as a baby. You might be wondering, why is he wearing a girl's dress? Well, his mother always wanted girls' twins. As a result, he, being the second child of between his parents, he had an older sister, and so she wanted him to be like a twin to her. And her dad, and then his dad, I called Ernest Hemingway a her. My goodness gracious. Anyways, his dad went ahead, decided that, no, I like this. He is a son. We already have a daughter. He is a son. And now it's time for us to go ahead and celebrate together. Here we go. This is what we're supposed to do. They went ahead and took him camping for 2 months every year, which eventually made his mom realize that he is a boy and not a girl, and just let him be a boy. This is where he went ahead and was finally allowed to go ahead and learn the tips of hunting with a double barrel or just a regular gun, and doing other camping activities too. In fact, also his father was the one who turned him back into a boy. He reportedly said that he didn't really like his father. He was born here, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but he was born in Oak Park, Illinois, which is in the United States of America, meaning that he's an American. He himself had a pretty rowdy life. When he first graduated from high school, instead of directly going to university, he went to the army, except he tried to join the Marines of the Americans, but then he got rejected, mainly because he had pretty much nearsightedness. In fact, I have pretty extreme nearsightedness that I'm legally blind. Like, it's from, like, this is my face, and from about here, it starts to get blurry. A little bit closer, and it's quite clear. But I need these glasses, and even with these glasses on, I can barely see everything else. Yeah, basically this is what Ernest Hemingway had, this problem too. He had nearsightedness. However, he was very keen, and he tried again. This time he got into the Union, but later on, he enlisted for the Red Cross, which, of course, he was going to be a driver for. If he wanted to be a driver, he needed good eyesight, but he didn't have good eyesight. So you know what he did? He memorized the eye chart, and basically he went ahead and memorized the whole thing and did it very well. He described his experiences in the Red Cross driving, and it was said that the Italians, he was driving in the Italian front, really didn't like him. In fact, they didn't like most Americans, saying that they were all people young little boys who would go get them all killed. However, they disliked Ernest the most, mainly because he was like always looking for a fight. But that's pretty much all that we get from him. But in the end, of course, he went ahead and did the job pretty sweet well. And also, he did go try to find a fight. He, one time though, went ahead, gave some of those little sweet stuff, the treats for soldiers, like cigarettes and chocolate, to some of them while he was trying to get the wounded over back there. Eventually, though, there was a little bit of a shrapnel blast, and it blasted a bunch of shrapnel pieces onto people. In fact, that shrapnel killed someone with a bunch of shrapnel in the chest. One of them got them on the legs. It got him pretty badly in the legs too, and he walked with the soldier before being shot down by a machine fire. Then he got up, dragged the soldier along with him, and got shot down on the other leg with another machine fire, like machine gun, where he stayed there for 2 hours. For 2 hours, man, 2 hours, until he was rescued by one of his own little buddies, lieutenant buddies. Of course, that's not exactly what. Of course, he was eventually found to be put onto an operating table, and the doctor found over 200 pieces of shrapnel, mostly in his legs, and he really needed to have physiotherapy after being put into a Red Cross. Instead of being a Red Cross driver now, he was a Red Cross patient. Because of this, he was awarded a pretty good, darn sweet Italian medal. But here, in the Red Cross place, he went ahead and found his first love, some sort of nurse that went ahead and, well, he kind of liked, and he based her on the character in his future book. However, after getting discharged from the hospital and the war ended, he tried to get married to her, but he got a letter of rejection instead, saying that she was breaking up with him and going to marry someone else. Also, she never married anyone else. And that's not all. Eventually, he went ahead and married someone else. This is his fourth wife. And he eventually moved to Paris, France, where he met other people of the lost generation. Mainly because, well, they just got back from war, and they have really hard time adjusting back to civilian life. What happens, though, was this. He finally met someone who he married, although she was 8 years older than him, and he moved back to the United States of America, where he went ahead and had this loving passion for literal big fishing. Eventually, he would have two sons with his new wife, 2 kids with his new wife. He would have a son with his old wife, like previous wife, and then, well, eventually she would decide that she definitely didn't want kids. She never signed up to have kids. She was definitely not designed to have kids either. As a result, when he moved away and left her to be with the kids, she realized that, alright, this is enough. I'm breaking up with Hemingway. But then Hemingway had a pretty big backup in mind, and he went ahead and, well, went back to the war front. Yes, he is really big war front guy. He would always go with his war buddies to go ahead and do whatever war buddies do. Eventually, his experiences in the war and Spain, he had a pretty big love of Spain after going to Spain, went ahead and helped him write his novel, The Sun Also Rises, which was his debut novel, and, well, this was published in 1926. Later on, even writing another novel based on Spain called For Whom the Bell Tolls. Yes, which was done in 1940. This was based on his experience from 1937 when he went to Spain to cover the Spanish Civil War during World War II. And finally, after having his bouts with fishing and meeting a really old man, he would use that for the basis of The Old Man and the Sea, which he wrote in 8 weeks. And, well, after his second wife divorced him, he went ahead and went to his third wife, who was a journalist like him, and they both went to Africa for a safari trip. I'm pretty sure both got tanned. Later on, they would have kids together, and then when they had to go ahead and decide to cover the Spanish Civil War together, he refused to give her a journalist pass, meaning that she would have to sit down with a bunch of army dudes who might flirt with her. As a result, she decided that this was not worth it, and she broke up with him. He, though, had a replacement. This lifelong saying about, like, flirting with other women as soon as you get married was something that stuck with Hemingway for the rest of his life. And this was his last wife, mainly because he didn't have time to get another wife. This was his fourth wife, and afterwards, so he started having the lifelong habit of drinking a little bit too much, getting into his head. As a result, he went ahead and ended up trying electrotherapy, which went ahead and shot electricity into his brain, which damaged it quite a good bit and took away the things that he most desired he desired the most. He cared for the most, and that was his memories. He lost his memories, like some of them, so he would never be able to write the same way as he could again. But as a result, he committed suicide. There are little kids watching this, so I cannot show that picture. He committed suicide, and Ernest Miller Hemingway died on July 2nd of 1961. He, though, however, had a really good reputation, and we will remember him as the American author of the entire world. But until the day we go ahead and realize that this guy, for what he's truly worth, I'm going to have to say that we will honor him to the best of our ability. Even if it means going ahead and, well, doing certain ridiculous things like putting coins onto his grave. In the end, though, I'm just glad that I got this video over with. My remastering of my Ernest Hemingway video was a long time coming, 4 years, and I hope to see you guys soon. And I hope you guys enjoyed this too. See you guys soon. Sean out. Peace. Bye-bye.